Он заряжен хотя бы, да? Ты чувствовал, когда в 15 лет знаешь, как заряжать уже все. Сейчас опять оглушимся.
Смотрит? Он смотрит.
Жесть, он написал. Смотри. Офигеть.
These are two 15-year-olds broadcasting live from an isolated house in western Russia. Inside, they have rifles, ammunition, alcohol, and cigarettes. Outside, dozens of armed police officers have already surrounded the property. Katya and Denis had run away together after their parents tried to keep them apart. Now they're streaming everything live, with thousands of people watching. And neither of them plans to leave that house alive. Pskov, Russia. A city of around 200,000 people, just 300 kilometers southwest of St. Petersburg. And this is where, in the spring of 2016, two 15-year-olds from the same school met for the first time. His name was Denis Muravyov. He had moved to Pskov 2 years earlier from Mirny, a closed military town in the Arkhangelsk region. His friends knew him as the class clown, the kid who could make everyone laugh. Katya Vlasova was in the class next door. Her friends described her as someone who always gave good advice, but rarely followed it herself. Within weeks, the two were inseparable. At school, their classmates called them one of the most beautiful couples in the school. They added each other on reconstructs, Russia's answer to Facebook, and spent their evenings together at the Akvapolis shopping center with their friends. From the outside, there was nothing unusual about them. It looked like a normal teenage love story. But behind those pictures, things were already starting to fall apart. Katya's drinking had become increasingly frequent over the summer, and in September, she joined a Vkontakte group associated with suicide content and began cutting herself. Denis was also struggling. He was repeatedly skipping school and failing his classes, eventually drawing the attention of juvenile authorities. The commission formally warned Denis's mother about his upbringing, but no intervention followed. Then, 5 days before everything ended, something happened that would change the course of their relationship. On November 8th, Katya was refused permission to spend the night at a friend's house. She went anyway, and when she was found, her stepfather confronted her in front of Denis. 5 days before his death, Denis left a comment under one of Katya's photographs. He wrote, "It's sad that everything turned out like this. Things were only good with you." 3 days later, Denis stole his mother's bank card. He withdrew 1,000 rubles and bought 2 minibus tickets to Strugi Krasnye, a small settlement about 80 kilometers from Pskov. Katya had proposed that they run away together. They packed warm clothes, a knife, and a bottle of alcohol.
Как вы попали в Струги? Доехали!
Я же деньги снял с маминой карты.
Он деньги снял с маминой карты, мы купили маршрут.
Their destination was a 2-story summer house belonging to Katya's stepfather, 9 Kudryavtsev Street. They thought they were running away. They had no idea what they were about to find inside that house. They spent about an hour working on a plastic window of the locked winter house. The glass shattered. They climbed in.
На маршрутке и доехали сюда. Как мы в дом попали? Вообще такая идея.
Да.
Мы, наверное, час
Долбили окно.
взламывали окно. Конченые вы.
Смотрите, чтобы сломать пластиковое окно, надо ножик вставить вниз и вверх так покурычить его, а потом в угол и выбивается окно.
Кто написал ау?
For 2 days, they hid. They cut each other's hair. They drank. They smoked. They slept. On November 12th, Denis contacted his half-sister Alyona in St. Petersburg and asked her to rent them a flat. They planned to take a BlaBlaCar out on Monday, November 14th. It was supposed to be an escape, a fresh start. Then, they found the safe. It was Katya's stepfather's gun safe, opened with a kitchen knife. Inside, 2 double-barreled hunting shotguns, a pistol, dozens of cartridges, cash, radios.
Хуя всего. Марина какая-то присоединилась, может, перелает. Смотри, Вик. Вот тут вот 2 ежа. Стволки. Тут пистолет.
A second safe stood nearby. They couldn't open it. It didn't matter. What they had was enough to hold off a police department.
Отстреляно, да хуя всего.
14th of November, 2016. Strugi Krasnye, Russia. On the morning of November 14th, Katya's mother and grandmother arrived at the house. A scuffle over a knife ended with Denis shooting Natalia Vlasova in the right thigh. When a police UAZ van drove up, Denis opened fire with a real shotgun. Denis posted photos to Instagram. Weapons, radios, cash, and the shot-up police car, captioned, "On vacation with my love." A selfie was labeled, "Hello, Cherny Delphine," the name of Russia's maximum security prison for life sentences. Then they started streaming. 5 broadcasts on Periscope. The shortest was 4.5 minutes, the longest, 55. They showed the weapons, the ammunition, the gun cleaning kits, the knife. On the stream, they called themselves Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie и Clyde, нахуй.
They blamed their parents. They answered questions from viewers. At certain points, very few people were watching. Their classmates, teachers, and friends joined the live stream from Pskov. Strangers found it. By the next day, the story was on news outlets around the world. But the question remained, why was nobody stopping them? Police blocked the street. Negotiations began by megaphone. A local officer said, "We were trying to find out how many hostages were in the house. They said there were no demands and no hostages."
В общем, сейчас звонили из полиции, точнее, мама Дениса. Просят, чтобы мы... Ну, еще у нас минут 30-40 есть на размышления. Просят, чтобы мы вышли. Сейчас камера. А выходить так не хочется, потому что будет полный трэш. Что же делать? Сдаваться?
SOBR, Russia's Special Purpose Mobility Unit, arrived at 1306. 12 operators and 1 sniper observer. Negotiations were conducted by ordinary local police officers. No professional negotiator was brought in. No psychologist. When asked why, a local officer replied, "What psychologists? When they were shooting at us." The last phone call was answered at 14:46. The assault was ordered at 15:08. At 15:22, 2 flashbang grenades were thrown into the house. The door was forced. Rosgvardia stated that SOBR did not open fire at any point. Only stun grenades were used. After the grenades, they shouted, "Ambulance! Ambulance!" The ambulance came quickly, and they went straight in. Both teenagers were found dead of point-blank shotgun wounds. The investigative committee stated that Denis first shot Katya, then himself. But the teenagers had said on stream that they were out of ammunition. How do you shoot yourself with a gun you said you didn't have? Forensics placed both deaths before the assault. Katya between 1340 and 1440, Denis between 14 and 15. The assault was ordered at 1508. If the timeline is correct, they were already dead when the grenades were thrown. The reported timelines created public suspicion. They did not prove wrongdoing, but they did not settle the question either. Before they became a story, before the songs, the films, and everything that came after, they were just two 15-year-olds. Two teenagers who thought they had nowhere else to go. They locked themselves inside a house, found weapons they didn't know how to use, and broadcast their final hours to the world. And while thousands of people watched, they waited for someone to come. Nobody came.